Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the third day of the Italian Virtual Week Workshop Europa, powered by the Travel Weekly Group. We hope you've had and you're having a productive week so far. Thank you very much for joining us on this ConnecTALKS Italy spotlight on travel and followed by a virtual social. And to the members of Connections, thank you for joining us and welcome. This session forms part of our Italian Virtual Week program, so it's great to see you all, and I can see so many more people are actually being admitted and joining as I speak. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michaela Giacobbe. I am the Managing Director of Connections, part of the Travel Weekly Group. It's really great to see so many of you logging on and logged on. I'd like now to introduce you to our incredible panelists today. And thank you very much to all the panelists joining us. We have Elena Rossi of the Italian Tourist Board. We have Rees of Alitalia and Anna Gricini of Rocco Forte Hotels. Now, a little bit more about our panelists, starting with Maria Elena Rossi. Maria Elena Rossi is the Marketing and Promotions Director of the Italian Tourist Board. Maria Elena, apart from working tirelessly for ENIT, she is also a passionate swimmer. And I learned actually today that she actually won third place at the European Masters Championship in London in 2015. So congratulations to Maria Elena. Rees is the country manager, UK and Ireland, Scandinavia and Baltics for Alitalia. Passionate backpacker at 17, traveled the world. When he was just 17, he backpacked London to Singapore. So Nick feels very, very fortunate to work in the industry that he absolutely adores and loves. And last but not least, we've got Anna Gricini, who is the Regional Director of Sales and Marketing in Italy for Rocco Forte Hotels. And Anna loves cooking. She often consults with Fulvio Pierangelini, chef of Rocco Forte, to have the best cooking suggestions. Her favorite dish is melanzana parmigiana, and I can't blame her because actually I do like that plate a lot. So welcome to all the speakers, and thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening. Well, this evening for London, but this morning for everywhere else, this afternoon for any parts of the world. So I'm really, really pleased that you could join us. During the sessions, we'll be talking and we'll be taking a deep dive into Italy's current status and predictions. The session will be followed by a social, which will be an opportunity to catch up with friends and colleagues over a cup of tea, an Italian coffee, or a glass of Italian wine. I do encourage you to ask as many questions throughout this interactive sessions at any time by using the chat button, which appears at the bottom of your screen. Please do get involved. My team is at hand if you wish to direct them any questions or if you need any help at any time. We'll try and answer as many questions as possible, but we'll also be very happy to connect following the session if and should we not have had time to get around all of your questions. I'm sure many of you will have used Zoom before, but if not, can I ask you to all place yourself on mute? This session will last up to 1 hour and is being recorded. So if you have any colleagues or friends who might also find this webinar useful, we will be distributing this recording webinar next week. So great, so let's begin. And I would like to start actually asking Maria Elena. Hi, Maria Elena, ciao. How are you?
Fine. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good day. Yeah.
I wanted to ask Maria Elena, as one of the first European countries to reopen its borders this summer, Italy achieved unexpected results. Seaside resorts sold out, and the mountain region saw an amazing surge in bookings. Since then, there have been new developments. So what can you tell us, Maria Elena, about the evolving situation in Italy?
Yes, well, thank you for this opportunity, and also I thank everyone who is here, our partners of the tourism industry, and everyone. And it's very important for us to be as a leader destination in the world, to be always on stage, even in these times. And so it is important, and this is what we've learned also from being the first country to reopen. We've learned a lot, and I think it was a responsibility, as I said, being the first to reopen, and also one of the leading destinations in the world, to really demonstrate that it is possible to restart. We did it both public and the private sector, I must say, and it was like a big rehearsal to try out all the new measures to feel safe and secure, and to make both the people who are working, and there are many people working in the tourism industry in Italy, and both for them and for the tourists. What has happened since then? Well, one very interesting thing is that many leaders of the tourism industry have really started to be work very hard for security and for safety. And in that respect, I must say, the airport of Rome really led the path for fast testing for all the tourists, and which is, I think, a great signal also given to the tourism industry for the confidence of the travelers, which is one of the main issues we have to face. But as we will be hearing later, also some leaders of the hotel industry started also developing these measures. And I think, as I said, we have a responsibility to show the path, and it is possible. What happened is, of course, we kept on having mostly domestic traveling in our country, for a country which had reached last year over 430 million overnights, being a record year, by the way. More than half of the overnights coming from international travelers. I mean, adapting to domestic travelers really has been a big challenge for the tourism industry and for destinations. And again, I think what we learned about this is that we probably have we've gone back to some traditions, to some authenticity and some local products, and which, of course, the Italians want to find when they go on holidays. And this probably is one of the legacies that we will be experiencing, especially for the international travelers when they come back. And so actually working hard on safe and seamless travel, that's actually what we are working at. Another aspect that we have been working at, and we will continue working, is customer relationship management. I think that is key again. I mean, we have all the tools now to work very, very efficiently on this issue. And I think that, again, this is another key element for the future. What concerns really destinations, I'm thinking about cities, especially art cities, which actually concentrate most of the international travelers. Well, they really have to reinvent themselves and really to become, let's say, first of all, better for their own citizens, and to improve infrastructure, transportation, and again, also all technological means to make it easier to live in a city, and also for city users, students and companies, and of course tourists eventually when the time will be there. And we also had hosted some very important international sports and cultural events, which were in Italy because it was felt as the most safe place. So we just had last Sunday the Imola Formula One championship, and again it was in Mugello, in next to Florence in September. We hosted the cycling world championship, and in terms of culture, both the Venetian International Film Festival and the Rome Film Festival, which just ended just a week ago, were held. So, and this all, as I said, it's the new normal, just taking care of safe and seamless reservation for everything you want to plan. And that also guarantees a better experience in the end if you plan better. So it takes away maybe a little bit of adventure at the moment, but still Italy is always adventurous anyway. And so really, I really do think that we are learning, and that probably 2021 will be the best time to come to visit because of less, let's say, people and more authenticity, which means also, of course, providing more value to the clients. And it's a big challenge for all of us, and we're working at it.
Yeah, no, thank you, Maria Elena, for this wonderful roundup. And certainly authenticity is something I have noticed when I quickly came back to Italy recently. It's this movement back to authenticity and to this hidden gems of cities, really. So building on that, I just wanted to turn the attention to Nick. In September, it was announced, as Maria Elena actually mentioned, that Italy was gearing up to offer COVID-free flights thanks to rapid testing. And I think she mentioned Rome Fiumicino Airport. Actually, this was initially being trialed there. So this introduction of rapid testing for departing passengers was actually the first in Europe. So Nick, how is it working?
Thanks, Michaela, and evening, everyone. Or hello, whatever time of day it is. Great to join you all. It's, sounds like you're having a really exciting week, so really pleased to join you this evening. Just, I think, to start off, testing generally has been a really interesting exercise. And, in the airline industry, we tend to be battling each other all the time, fighting against our competitors. And I think it's a good example where all the airlines have really come together, and you're hearing a really unified voice now going to all the governments saying that testing is really a key part of however we're going to get out of the current situation. And we've all got to work together to get really proactive on a testing regime that's accepted across the world. And I think we've all been struggling with some of the quarantine measures that have been brought in at different markets and the requirements that everyone's had on quarantine. And we've all seen in the industry the impact that's had on us all. Not only just the discouragement to travel, but with all the changes and the sudden changes in quarantine, it's been really challenging for everyone in the industry to plan. So we're really working hard on the testing regimes. So from an airline perspective, we see it as a global initiative required, and we're really working hard through IATA and the other trade bodies, pushing for pre-departure testing to replace the current patchwork of quarantines and testing. So that's a sort of general background. Within that, I think it's really encouraging to see that Italy has been at the forefront of the global effort on testing. As Maria Elena mentioned there, Fiumicino Airport has been very active, and other airports in Italy, about offering testing to arrivals, even subsidizing it with free testing, which has been great. But on top of that, as you mentioned, we've been running on the Fiumicino to Linate route. We've been running on 2 flights a day, both directions, a real trial, where everyone on board has either presented a COVID test done in the last couple of days, or has done a rapid test at the airport. I think there's 2 reasons for that. One was to build passenger confidence and to show that, testing was being done, and some people, it was the first time to fly and they wanted that confidence. But it's also really important within the sort of global push to get testing in place to show that it can be done, and also to get some feedback and some evidence from the testing that's been done. It's worked well. The results haven't been published, but we've extended the scheme and it's carrying on until this week. People have certainly been keen to travel on those flights. And I think, the rapid test in particular is one that's important to be using and getting confidence in the data to show that it's working and is accurate, because what we've seen in many countries is that the standard that's been brought in is that the PCR test is required, which we understand that it's seen as more reliable, but it is expensive and it's time consuming. And when we're really trying to get volumes moving again, whenever we come out of the current situation, we really feel that this rapid test is a critical part of bringing both the speed of the exercise, but also the cost. You know, when we're traveling within Europe, to have £150 or €200 test is not really realistic within the framework of what people are paying for everyone else. So we're seeing that this, you know, hopefully the testing that's been done by us and other people within the industry, it will bring the costs, you know, if it's accepted and governments bring it into legislation, people can be doing testing rapidly at the airport for 20 to 30 euro tests. And the other aspect of that is, I think most governments find it really important that this testing is done in a private environment, generally in many countries. It's not impinging on the struggle that all the countries are having with testing for the local population. So it's, again, we're showing that the travel industry is rising to the challenge, and we're providing this outside of whatever else the state needs to do. Here in the UK, there's been a bit of frustration with the slowness of getting a testing regime in place and a policy on it, but it seems like the government has moved, and we're expecting a policy to come in hopefully by the beginning of December, when the current lockdown period is due to finish. We're hoping to at least see that will, it perhaps initially won't completely reduce the 14-day quarantine for returning passengers from Italy that we've got, but we're sensing that there could be some initiative where you can take a test shortly after arrival, and it will significantly reduce the quarantine, which I think will certainly be positive. There seems also to be a gradual acceptance that these rapid tests are accurate, and the government, certainly the UK government now, is stating that a lot of their efforts to start different sectors of the economy will be based around the rapid test. So it's all encouraging that all this rapid testing and all the work that we're doing in the industry is being recognised. It's building up confidence in the travel. Ultimately, you know, we're relying on the government to bring the restrictions in, and it needs them to sign the legislation that allows people to really start travelling again on this testing basis.
Thank you, Nick. It's a very fluid situation, and definitely all of this is putting us as humans in a situation where, let's see how adaptable we really are, because we all have to be if we are to survive in these tough times. Questions are coming thick and fast, so I'm just going to stay on you, Nick, for a moment. Paola Shannon, hi Paola, asks, Nick, we hear that aviation is very cautious about a date when things will be going back to pre-COVID numbers. What is your feeling on this? It looks we are talking about 2023. Do you share that view?
I think, yeah, we're certainly not seeing pre-COVID numbers coming back quickly. I think what we're trying to do perhaps is move away from looking at what the pre-COVID situation is. I'm not sure that that's going to benefit us too much in the future. So I think what we're looking to do is looking at each season, looking at each few weeks ahead of us at the moment, and just really optimizing what we're doing and trying to put everything in place that's encouraging people to travel again. I think the industry, across the whole industry, has worked really hard all together, whether it's airlines, with hotels, the other providers within the industry. And I think that has worked to get the confidence back into travel. What's really holding it up now is these government restrictions and the government legislation. So I think our lobbying to the government is really important to try to get that support back for the travel industry. We obviously fully understand that health is the prime driver, and the governments have got a lot of other things on at the moment, but they have to understand that, you know, all of us in the travel industry need some certainty, and we need to get things moving again. But in terms of when we actually think those sort of levels will be back, I think 2 years certainly is the sort of time frame we're looking at.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Nick. Anna, hello. How are you?
Oh, well, thank you, Michaela.
So following on from Maria Elena and Nick, but especially Nick, and the process of testing, is it true that Rocco Forte hotels now offer a pre-flight testing service as well as offering testing at hotels?
Yes, Michaela. Also for hotels, luxury hotels, it was important to adapt and align ourselves to the highest levels of safety upon arrival. And the first message that was sent out when we envisaged travel to come back was exactly that, to encourage people to travel in safety. As a matter of fact, Rocco Forte hotels spent a lot of time and money in implementing, these high-level protocols. Still, of course, it was important, it was crucial to not to lose the sense of hospitality and warmth that we were used to deliver, because of course with all the staff wearing a mask and of course following all these protocols, the risk was to lose a bit of the hospitality flair that we are recognized for. Additionally, of course, because the situation, as we all know, evolves very rapidly, we also created partnerships with reliable external providers. For example, in the UK, to ensure at-home test. So basically, all the Rocco Forte clients were able to, receive the test at home in full privacy with a guaranteed 24-hour result. And similarly, we developed locally in all our Italian destinations partnership with, again, external laboratories that can either test the client in the hotel in the privacy of their suite or room, or in a nearby laboratory with, again, a 24-hour guaranteed result and in English. So the overall, effort was to really encourage people to still travel. Of course, now we had all of us to adapt to the rules, but we didn't want anyone to, to be prevented in booking their trips because maybe they didn't know how to manage this kind of need once they were in our hotels.
I mean, it's really tricky because you obviously, Nick touched upon this earlier. It's the speed of testing, which it's very imperative, but it's also the cost. And obviously Rocco Forte is a luxury brand and everything like that, where money might not be an issue, but in the mainstream market, yes, I know there's a lot of companies that are actually currently lobbying to government to ensure that the prices are going to come down as well. But this is something that I hear you guys at Rocco Forte are also doing. Maria, thank you, Anna. So Maria Elena, following on from both Nick and Anna's comments, so can you please take us through the full process of travel to Italy? What can clients expect from the moment they arrive to the moment that they return? What are companies in Italy doing to rebuild confidence?
Yes, well, the experience, and I really think Anna touched a very important issue. I mean, when you travel, even if you travel for business, we are using to enjoy, and we need to have inspirations, dreams. I mean, it's part of traveling, and especially even if it's a place you don't know, or if you do know it, it's like you associate traveling with something pleasant, something that gives you inspiration. So I do think that it is important that we all try to keep this in mind. And concerning the rules that are actually in Italy now being enforced, we are all wearing masks, face masks. So of course tourists as well, when they are outside or in inner spaces. The transportation has been adapted to reduce, let's say, numbers and to have social distancing. So if you catch a high-speed train, you won't, the capacity has been halved, and you are able to respect social distancing, which is a must, of course. And this happens in most tourist transportation as well. So what happens is, of course, as I said, you need to wear this face mask and to keep social distancing. Of course, once you reserve, so as I said earlier, important is always to book whatever you want to have. So whether it's a visit to a museum or to an attraction, or it's a restaurant or even a bar, everything needs a reservation. That helps, of course, the service providers to organize everything and for the best. And once you're sitting inside a restaurant or a cafe, you can of course sit and take off your mask. And well, there are limitations to the number of people you can sit with, of course, and this is something that we've been used to trying at the moment to reduce, let's say, too much social contact. So I mean, many people together are not accepted at the moment. Having, like a sip outside a bar with a beer is standing is not at the moment recommended and allowed. So you will probably need to sit and to enjoy, and so to take more time for the things you do, which is, again, it's more this slow tourism movement that we are enforced to experience. But again, it has its importance, its charm, and also you enjoy more the time you're spending with family and close friends, and also the things you're doing. So these are the main aspects that you would be facing when you travel to Italy at the moment. And you are allowed to have sports outside. So you can absolutely go jogging in a park or along the Tiber or other rivers. So that's also something that many people traveling are now enjoying doing, which is a perfect way to get to know a city. That's what I also do myself when I travel in the morning. I just take a nice run, and this is absolutely allowed. Also, well, you can have a haircut, or you can go to, your beauty salon. This is still something that has been considered something that, it's very important to feel nice and not to be able, to have this kind of care of oneself. And I think, again, I'll talk again about responsibility. I mean, each tourist has a responsibility to respect the rules in order to be able to travel in the future. So it's from both sides. It's not only from the tourism industry side, which has worked very hard, as you heard, but again, it's also from the tourist side. And so I think also for travel agents, it's important to remind this. Also, their message should go in this direction. I mean, we all know that we will be having to adapt to this situation probably for a few years. And in that respect, I mean, it's really a contract that we all sign one with the other, and that will bring back also the confidence, I'm sure. I mean, the demand is there. We know, you mentioned it earlier. I mean, we know that Italy is top of mind, and also because I think, and let me finish with this sentence. It has to do with our business model. The business model in Italy is mostly made of very small family businesses, very flexible and very able to adapt to changes. And I think, to some respect, I mean, this business model is proving to be very, very efficient in this situation. And we need to be flexible. And again, we need the big, let's say, players of the service providers to lead the path. But again, the small businesses and family businesses has proved as well to be able to respect and to adapt.
Oh, thank you, Maria Elena. One of the things that I did realize when I came and visit Italy recently was actually the attention to safety. And everyone was respecting that. That's what hit home for me as an Italian living abroad since 24 years, is I could really see the attention to safety paramount in everywhere I went. So that was very good. I felt very very confident. It made me personally, and this is only a personal, so I could just echo, I'd like to echo that, obviously. We've got a couple of questions, so I'm just going to stay on you, Maria Elena, for a second, about the US. Dino is actually asking, what discussions are you having with the US government regarding eventually allowing Americans back to Italy?
Well, this is a tough time to talk about the US government, I guess. So, well, we have an excellent ambassador, and he's one of the most experienced ambassadors in the US, and really working very hard to keep this relationship and to eventually reopen. So, I mean, what was earlier said is, again, fast testing and European but also international common rules should be really, be speeding up. Because the impact which this kind of different rules in each country is really damaging a lot our industry and the freedom of movement which we're used to. So I do think that our diplomats are working a lot around the world very hard in this direction. Also, of course, the Aviation Association is talking about fast testing upon departure and in order to have air bridges which allow to continue traveling. And I think, I mean, the people are willing to of course, take their part of the risk, but provided they know the rules. And this is the main thing. So far, I'm not able to answer this question. If I have the contact of Dino, I will update him once there is something more clear.
Yeah, maybe Dino, you could just put privately in the chat to Maria Elena, or for everyone really, your email address, and maybe Maria Elena can reach out to you and keep you updated. Leslie was also asking about Americans traveling. If US traveler came from Croatia after 14 days, are they still required to quarantine in Italy for 14 days if they have a negative test? It's very
well, yes, actually, yes. So far, yes. I mean, it's a rule. Testing, it was earlier said, it has to be cleared what kind of test is accepted to be cleared and to avoid quarantine. So at this time from Croatia, it is still on the quarantine. So as far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Maria Elena. So Nick, what, if any, are the new standards for the airport experience?
Thanks. I think it was great listening to Maria Elena, and I think, so many different sectors have made huge efforts to combine sort of bringing in the new safety regulations with trying to keep the experience great as well. And that's the challenge we've got across all segments. And I think it's been a remarkable job in the last few months across many sectors. I think, the travel industry across our industry has really risen to that, whether it be through the whole experience, through the airport, on board, etc. And, we're all working to make the whole end-to-end journey really, obviously, number one, safe, but also as close to what people expect as possible. One thing that strikes me is, in the first few weeks of the crisis, we were constantly hearing, "Oh, we don't feel safe traveling. We don't want to sit on a plane next to other people who we don't know." And there was a lot of pushback on that front. I think the work that everyone's done in the industry to show what's been done has really been effective, because certainly recently we're not hearing anything we haven't been hearing people say we don't want to travel. Everyone out there is saying they do want to travel, but they're waiting for the government restrictions and the health situation to allow it. So I think there's been a huge job done in terms of building back confidence in the whole journey time. In terms of sort of specifics, obviously from the airline point of view, we've done a lot to stress the safety on board. You've probably heard endlessly about these filters we have on the aircraft that make it safer than almost any other environment. And I think people have got that message now. And I think that's reinforced by we now, all the evidence is showing that there've been absolute minimal transmission of the disease on board aircraft. So, gradually that confidence is certainly there about the travel. In terms of airports, as you asked, obviously we're putting a lot of procedures in place, both ourselves and the airports. You'll see new ways of boarding and disembarking the aircraft. So a lot of procedures as Maria Elena was talking about, to keep the social distancing in place. And so every procedure we can do on that, whether it's on increasing online checking, having quick bag drops, etc., to reduce the contact at all points. On top of that, obviously, there's a huge investment in actually the sanitization of all parts of the airport experience. And there's a lot of talk about the trays that you put your hand luggage through. So every part of the journey has been looked at in detail, and a lot of work gone into the whole hygiene through the airport procedures. As well as, obviously, we've all got used to the fact that masks have to be worn everywhere through the whole journey, which I think people accept and have got used to now. Again, I think what's been great is to see that the Italian airports have really been at the forefront of the safety effort, and it's great. Particularly Fiumicino Airport has been recognised by 2 sort of global awards, both one from Skytrax and one from ACI, the Airports Council, rating it as the highest of the airports in terms of what they put in place, sort of in these requirements. So really good to see Italy leading the way in terms of getting confidence back into traveling.
Thank you, Nick, and definitely a lot to adapt, but as I said before, we are adaptable, and it will not be long until we actually will regard this as the new normal. But very refreshing to hear that Italy's Fiumicino actually is leading the way, as you said. So really good news there. Anna, where are your bookings coming from at the moment? For example, are they mostly domestic? Are you seeing a slow rise in international visitors? Can you give us a bit of insights there?
Yes, Michaela. No, as was mentioned before, of course, we had, I can confirm that we had an incredible summer for our resorts in Puglia and Sicily. And I have to say that the Italian market, the domestic market, contributed highly to these fantastic results. I mean, consider that normally the percentage could vary between 10-20%. In the summer, Italians basically contributed for nearly 50% of the business. And the trend is continuing, of course. So it's easier for Italian to travel within Italy. Now is, of course, we are in autumn, and city breaks are still, a way for Italian to spend, some time away from home. So we still see a lot of domestic. I have to say that also in the window of the summer, we have been seeing back most of our European travelers. And now, unfortunately, the situation with the various lockdown in the various countries has changed. So currently what we see is that business travel, high-spend business travel is still on. We see that, for example, high level of executives for many reasons are traveling mainly for business and potentially traveling with private jets are still, coming. But the positive note is that we are already experiencing a pickup from international visitors, including US, for 2021 spring and summer. So we are very confident in next season to have, potentially not at the 2019 levels, but to see a recovery of our, most traditional markets, international markets.
Thank you, Anna. Maria Elena, does this mirror Italy as a whole? Where are people traveling to and from, and what destinations are most popular at the moment?
Yes, I can confirm, of course, this high percentage of domestic traveling and the let's say and European and UK, of course, UK and Ireland, definitely. I mean, we were the last air bridge, let's say, one of the last to be shut. And then and this of course, I mean, I was talking about the film festival in Venice. I really could see a lot of UK and island travelers in Venice, for instance. And so we expect in 2021 again a similar trend. We were talking earlier to prepare this panel about cars. Many people traveling by car and feeling more safe, let's say, by traveling by car as well, and also be more flexible in the way they can move. And you know, our traditional markets are overall European and German speaking, together with English speaking, of course. But let's say that's what we see in the bookings for the coming year. We do see already bookings also thanks to the flexibility that many tour operators and also the properties are giving. So in cancellation. So I mean there is let's say for everyone in the industry really a need to confidence, to rebuild confidence, and in that respect, everybody is doing its job. So we see, of course, and we do hope that we'll be able to run our winter season, which is very important for our Alps resorts. And but of course, let's say we are planning day by day. And I think this changed completely our job in also as marketers to readapt and to be ready to push and to start with let's say pushing the bookings when the time is ready. So we really do hope that Christmas and will be a good time to restart for our winter resort in particular, and also for all the short breaks in cities who will be then ready to reopen both for domestic and European. Let's say the long haul, of course, will take longer. US, I mean, we see from big and small data that we're studying every day that there is again a lot of demand for Italy. And because of the way also that Italy has handled the safety measures and generally speaking also the communication, we've been working very hard in communication during the last months, knowing how important it has become, even more important now that we all have restrictions.
Thank you, Maria Elena. And this goes to all of you. Really, I've just had a private message from a delegate in the audience saying actually that the local economy, the domestic tourism has actually saved the day, and it's ironic with a lot of emphasis done by government and airline to promote international travel versus local, and what partially saved the day here to some scale is the local travelers going short distances and spending their money locally. So it's you should wonder why we invest so much in incoming international tourism, whilst the importance of local tourism seems to be somehow overlooked, but is what has saved the day. So I don't know whether this is a question or anyone has anything to say, but it is actually what has actually happened. But I'm going to go to Nick, and perhaps if you want to comment on this as well. Nick, what flight paths are currently operating? Any more to return in the near future?
Love to say we were operating at full schedule, but I think that's a little way off. It really reflects everything that's been said over the last few minutes. Domestic has been really strong over over the whole period. Well, after the initial lockdown in Italy, we saw a strong pickup in our domestic services, and we've been putting as many services as we can on a lot of the domestic routes. Long haul, really, we completely suspended it at the start of the situation, and it remains. We've just kept operating a JFK, New York, Rome service throughout. We're hoping to start bringing back some services, starting with more for outbound from Italy. We've got a Maldives service due to start in December, and we've got some South America services due to start to Sao Paulo and Buenos Aires. We're then long haul, we're looking really at the first quarter, middle of the first quarter next year, to start some other long haul services out to India and to Japan. So a gradual build up, but obviously everything, as we've talked about, really fluid over the next few months as we see how government restrictions change. In terms of Europe, we ran, some pretty good routes over the summer period. All the main cities were operating in and out of Italy from France, Germany, Spain, UK, Belgium. We had good loads going through. Obviously that has, after the September, and as restrictions started to come back in, we have had to scale those back, and we're being as realistic as we can. We're not trying to operate flights at really low seat factors. So we've taken some pretty drastic decisions where we've had to cancel services to really just operate where they are viable in terms of how many people, how much demand we're seeing. At the moment, most of the reductions we've done have been through till about the 15th of December. We're hoping to bring back a lot of the services for the Christmas New Year period, but obviously that really depends on how the restrictions across Europe go and what developments we see. But as we've all said, we just have to be flexible at the moment, and it's a real challenge for our people in fleet planning and route planning as to where they put aircraft at the moment, because there's huge pressure. But wherever we see demand, we'll try to put on aircraft.
Okay, Nick, thank you. We got a question from Mary Stedman in the chat. It's this question for Nick. Recently, Mary flew to Italy with a different carrier, and the plane was a third full, leaving Italy, yet everyone on the plane was sitting close together, and we were informed that we could not move seats due to Italian law. Are you ensuring that seats location is spread out for passengers traveling with you? And is there really a law that passengers have to sit in their assigned seats when leaving Italy, when there is a lot of empty seats on a plane?
I wouldn't really be comfortable talking about another airline's policy, but there are obviously strict rules in terms of the balance of aircraft, and my experience has been more that from the captain's point of view. Obviously there's a lot of it, as the aircraft takes off, the loading of the aircraft is important in terms of people not moving around the aircraft. So I have more experience from that point of view in terms, and it could have been whether the information given wasn't correct about why they couldn't move around. It depends what cargo is being carried on the aircraft and many other factors. But I guess my ultimate response is, why weren't you flying with Alitalia? But no, I mean, it's a very difficult, obviously, again, safe, we're talking at the moment a lot about safety related to COVID, but, safety on all aspects of aviation remains paramount. And, the instructions given by the crew, whether they've been given the exact information about why you can't move, etc., might not be correct, but there certainly are restrictions in keeping your seat for various reasons.
Okay, Nick, thank you. Maria Elena, where are some of the hidden gems in Italy? For those that want something different or more secluded, where would you recommend they travel?
It is a very tough question to answer in such a varied country such as Italy. But hidden gems are really spread in Italy, and even in places where you might been many times, talking about art cities, for instance. And we, as citizens, I live in Rome since 2 years, and I must say I keep on discovering new hidden gems in Rome. And I think at this time it's really the time of rediscovering our cities, thinking about private museums or private palaces, terraces, which give you a totally different point of view on a city. And in that respect, we are really working hard also to position and reposition the art cities of Italy through many marketing campaigns that we are running at the moment. And at the same time, of course, this makes also reconsider the way we travel by connecting better the cities with the outskirts and then the inner areas. I think it's also a new way of having, you know, we used to have like a distinction by traveling off the beaten track and traveling in a city. I think this will be more related more and more, because people are looking for experiences more personalized. They're looking to go deeper and to authenticity, and which we can be found actually in many areas. And I mean, I was mentioning earlier the Imola champion Formula One of last week. And for instance, there, it's a hidden gem in the sense that we all know what Ferrari, Lamborghini is, and Ducati, but we don't know that we can actually drive these cars in this area, which is called the Motor Valley, and go around. And that's something that we've been promoting a lot also through campaigns. And it's one of the elements of experience in a different way our country from north to south. I must say that also, I mean, the inner areas of Umbria, on the Marche area, this year was the year of Raffaello and, you know, Urbino, which has been rediscovered also by us as Italians. Next year will be the year of Dante, who was born in Ravenna, by the way. And so we will be talking a lot about Dante and Dante tracks from Ravenna to Florence and to Tuscany. I mean, you can see really Italy in different angles, and depending on what you're looking at, and be inspired. And I mean, history and tradition and contemporary is there to be found. So just I think what we have been working at is also developing some niches, interesting niches like gardens. We just launched now in Italian a beautiful garden route website where you can find several all the gardens that are spread, historic gardens or contemporary gardens, English gardens and Italian style. And it is very rich in this offer, for instance, and it allows again to stay outside in the nature, but in another way, and to experience that. Just talking about some other great event that we will be hosting is the Ryder Cup in 2023 in Rome. And again, our golf offer is really very, very special because of the authenticity and of the clubs that are around from north to south again. So I mean, different angles depending on, you know, what inspires and what you really want to do in 2021 when we will be able to move again more freely. I think each one of us has a dream, and probably, well, Italy can fulfill them all. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And when you're actually having such an interesting conversation is when the time is almost running out. Can you believe we've been talking together for almost an hour? I have so many more questions to pose to you, but I think we're going to have to open it up to anyone who would like to ask. Maybe we'll ask a couple of questions if you guys have any. I think Carolyn has got one, but if anyone else has another question to ask, please feel free. So Carolyn Spinks is actually saying, thank you everyone for your time. And to put things into perspective for us, a few months ago, the newspapers were reporting on an incentive scheme for travelers searching for a holiday in Sicily. I know many of my operators would welcome news of any help to encourage potential clients and to help them generate a bit of business to Sicily. Is this something still in discussion? And this is Carolyn from the Association of British Travel Organizers to Italy. She says, grazie mille. Is it something that perhaps you want to take on now, Maria Elena, or discuss later about?
Yeah, well, as you know, working with Italy has to do with having to deal with many regions, the 20, and it's for us also not easy always to and it's also the nice part of Italy. I mean, it's like the adventurous side. You know, the regions are, for the constitution, in charge of tourism. And in that respect, many regions have supported travelers, especially domestic this year. And in fact, Sicily has launched this program. And I'm not aware, not sure, but we haven't talked yet to the regional government whether this opportunity will be there next year. But again, I mean, you can be in touch either with me or with our offices in, depending on where you are staying, where you are working, and we'll be able to give you all information. We are trying to really update on our website, italia.it, in several languages, what is going on, and we're also to give you all the contacts in order to explore these opportunities. At the moment, 2021, we haven't discussed this possible opportunity that Sicily has given in 2020.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much, Maria Elena, Nick, and Anna. It was really amazing. There is a huge amount that we can take away and apply to our businesses. Thank you for giving us a perspective and an overview of what the situation is, with a very positive outlook, because we have to all keep positive and and look at a bright future, because there will be definitely, we've proved it, and it worked, and we can all be very, very resourceful and to pull all of the stops in order to make of this situation the most positive that there is. So we're now going to continue this session with a social.